you're very angry with your one child. He's done something for which you are very, very angry with him. But at that same time, his friend or another sibling of yours comes and talks to you, you're quietly, patiently able to answer to that person. The klesha is in the dormant state also. It is in a prasupta, active state also. But at the same time, this does not mean that at another time, when you're not in a actively klesha state with this child, you will you will not be like that angry state with that other one with whom you were just now all happy. There's no guarantee. The moment you finish getting angry with this fellow, it might be वो दूसरे वाले का नंबर है, उदार. और ये अक्सर होता है ना. In Bombay, this is a common thing that we do. We all get out of house and we get into the bus, and the bus conductor, you're lucky if he's in a happy good mood, or our rickshaw drivers, taxi drivers, they're in a good mood, they'll take you where you want to, they'll not argue with you. Otherwise, some of them for a small little thing will start into argument and abusing and talking things. तो क्या बोलोगे दोस्तों, घर से बीवी से झगड़ के आया है क्या? एक जगह हम झगड़ा करते हैं, दूसरी जगह उसको लेते फिरते हैं. We keep taking it away, but it is very natural. That is the nature of klesha. And why? Because kleshas feed on the ignorance ka field, and the field of ignorance is nourished by the three gunas. For those of you who may have missed out on the session on gunas, just one particular characteristic of guna I need to mention here to understand how the gunas is what avidya is interested in. Ignorance is interested in. Ignorance is providing this nourishment to the other kleshas for growing. The three gunas, they have a contrary nature to each other, if you remember seeing the list. Just one characteristic also, if you look at, you see that the three are pretty contrasting to each other. They're not at all similar. But the three never exist separately from each other. They always coexist. And in coexistence, there is always a game being played, a competition between them for being better than the other. Sorry, being stronger than the other, dominating over the other. So, at one given point of time, when you are very, very angry and overcome by the klesha, it is probably that time when your tamas guna is very, very high. Sattva and rajas are in small quantity, small measure. They are weak that time, not very powerful. But their state never remains constant because they are very, very movement oriented. So fine, for some time the tamas may remain dominant. After some time it is going to come down. वो होता है ना, एक बार गुस्सा कर लिया, किसी का गुस्सा एक दिन में शांत होता है, किसी का 1 घंटे में शांत होता है, किसी का 1 महीने बाद में नहीं होता है. लेकिन 1 महीने बाद, 2 महीने बाद तो होना ही पड़ेगा. Time heals finally. But after that, it may have become shanta, prasupta, but at given an opportunity, thoda stimulation mila, it springs up, become active or lubricant. So that is our state all the time. Now tamas was predominant, rajas may become predominant. So it will show itself in a different manner, action manner. After some time, sattva may become predominant. Then you will be in a nice, peaceful, quiet state. The klesha may be in a prasupta state. So we understand what is prasupta and what is active, udara. What are these two other stages in between? Now this is happening automatically. Because one is very strong, the other kleshas, the other emotions, other tendencies, negative traits are lying low. Because one is overpowering, there is no room for the other to take over. Anger, greed, jealousy, desire for things, possessions, being obsessed with things, all these are traits that we want to get rid of. And we want to move towards concentration. These are the things that obstruct your concentration. Temptations, yes, all these things. Indulging in sensual pleasures, all these are rag, dvesh and avinivesh. Ego sense, some people have so much power, so much money, but they still want more. The ego is not satisfied. Ego sense. So, as long as these klesha are, any one klesha is active, the others are dormant, kept dormant because of this one being active. To weaken the klesha, you have to consciously work at the opposite. So if you are angry and you want that anger should not possess you, you not be possessed by the anger, what you need to do is to consciously experience or make your mind shift, have a paradigm shift. It should move into what will be the opposite for you of anger? Maybe calm, control. Yes? A self-disciplined being. How often do we put ourselves into this kind of a state? Is that easy? Definitely not. In a state of anger, in a state of absolute fear, कुछ नहीं बोल सके, तो रास्ते में जाते हुए नौकर को डांट दिया. You do transfer, no? So, here what is suggested by Patanjali is, don't transfer the negative in this manner and make it more negative. Because that servant is now going to transfer it still elsewhere. And still elsewhere, that means the negative is increasing, no? It is we who have caused the increase in negative. Patanjali is saying, yes, transfer. But let that transfer be such that it will help you elevate and not go down. Do it in a manner that your kleshas will be thinned, be interrupted, not in a manner that they become more active and udara. So, whenever you are in the midst of intense feelings, very intense kind of desires, try and see how it can be converted and directed towards God. I forget the saint in whose context the story is commonly said. Maybe one of you might be able to tell me. But the story goes like this, that this saint was listening to this lady, one prostitute who was singing. And she was singing a very passionate kind of a song. And somebody who found this saint sitting and enjoying this song later on questioned this saint. When he was questioned as to how come he was listening to this prostitute, he says, oh, but she was singing such a beautiful bhajan. All the passion that she was showing in the song, for him, it was all towards God. It is the mind that plays this trick. How, which way you direct it. So, if we can change the direction of the mind, why not? But, why not? I'll answer that also. Because we have not directed ourselves in that direction. We haven't yet clearly understood that it is this avidya that is keeping us occupied. What avidya? That this world is real. This existence, this changeful existence is what is reality. We need to start questioning this reality and realize that there is an unchangeful reality. The day we start looking towards that, it will not be very difficult to start changing these negative emotions and turning them towards God and utilizing them positively. And that is when the active will become interrupted. The udar will start getting vichinna. It's like the making Swiss cheese with holes. That's what it will become. Once it is interrupted, it's easier to weaken it. Then you still further keep working in the same direction. The working is in the same direction, only in different forms and different intensity. That's all. Tapa, Swadhyay and Ishwar Pranidhan. So self-study and study of scriptures or chanting never gets over with. Okay, chanting, I have been talking so much, so let me tell you one more thing. Though I said smaller the mantra, the better it is. For very many of us who are in an extremely udar state, may not find a small mantra occupying our mind. We need a big one. वो इतने से मेरा क्या होगा, वो वाला होता है. So then you need something like Gayatri mantra, big long one. So may we begin with that.